This is Modern Renegades. This is Ashley Kelsch, and you are listening to Life Coaching for Modern Renegades, episode number 67. Welcome to Modern Renegades podcast. This is a life coaching podcast for the person who wants to learn how to lose themselves in the moment, not life circumstances. Each week, we will explore mental and spiritual practices that will inspire you to ask, seek, and heal. They are for the modern renegade. They are for you. Well, I bet that got your attention. Are you thinking, Ashley makes mistakes? Oh my God, who knew? That's why I want it in there. I want you to know I'm human, just like you. That's right. And you know what else I am? I am going to take all of the fun out of love and dating today. That's what I'm doing. So I'm maybe not as fun and sexy or advisable as you would like me to be. Because, see, there's this really big mistake that I'm observing in the dating world. It's this urgent rush to call this love and claim, I have found the one. And you skip the entire process of dating and getting to know someone so you can just get into a relationship, be in a relationship. I just knew when we met, it was love at first sight. Within 3 weeks, he told me he can't think of anyone else, won't think of anyone else, that this is it. She said she'd be out with another guy on a date, but I was the only one she could think of. And we just knew. Has it occurred to you that meeting someone doesn't have to be this supercharged emotional experience? That when you aren't feeling all the feels, there's still a chance that you could connect with someone and be in a relationship eventually? You believe you should know at a glance, an interaction, that a relationship should unfold from, hi, how are you? To, I'm in love with you, let's spend our lives together. It's true. I hear it all the time. I watch it all the time. I've lived it most of the time. Where is the who are you? How are you trusting your entire future on a feeling, intuition, based off of an immediate charge you get when you meet, rather than spending the time getting to know them and focusing on the data of this person and how they align with your values or don't align, and your priorities and your boundaries? How's that sexy? Exciting? No? Boring? I know. You believe that if you meet someone and don't have a charge, that there isn't anything there. If you don't have the feelings, the chemistry, and the connection, there isn't a possibility. Despite all logic, talks with friends where you claim otherwise, you still want the love story that starts with, we just knew. I knew it. This is the moment you're holding out for. This is how you think it will be to find the one, to fall in love. I cannot stress this next statement enough. That person doesn't know you, and you do not know them. You are not in love with them. It's called lust, y'all. I was watching my favorite French series, Call My Agent, and there was this conversation where one man says about his girlfriend, we're in love, we're in a relationship. And the other man says, you're not in a relationship. You've been together for 3 months. Well, then what would you call this? And he replies, a romantic comedy. A relationship starts after 3 years. It takes time to get to know someone. I mean, really know them. Few people take the time to really get to know themselves, let alone the people sitting across from them. Have you ever considered that what you know of someone is all in your head? That the relationships you are having are comprised of your thoughts about them? Which is exactly what is happening when you have any encounter, but especially these early on encounters where you think you're falling in love. When you have a direct experience with a person, meaning they are talking to you and you are listening, your brain is interpreting their thoughts and feelings based off what you are trying to discover, your life experience, your filters. And then even when they're not in front of you, you are continuing to have a relationship because you are thinking about them. So you are still experiencing them in your brain. Remember, the brain doesn't know what you are imagining or what is happening in front of you. If you think it, you experience it. It is real. So you know what? You are falling in love, my sweet little renegade, but with an idea of someone that you are imagining, a future or possibility that you are daydreaming and fantasizing about. This is why it feels real and like love, because your brain does not know the difference between what you are imagining and what is actually happening. Kind of amazing. But in these instances, not so much. All these thoughts are creating juicy chemicals. Your brain is bathing in love hormones, and you start behaving like a person in love. Have you ever considered what love is? What a relationship is for you, the relationship that you want? How do you actually imagine it playing out? Take a minute right now and think about the last time you met someone. How many seconds until you saw yourselves in bed, sharing a home together? Watch your brain. There is some very good stuff here for you to examine. I was always quite impressed. I could be divorced within 6 minutes. These instant attractions that I felt at home when we met, these may also be really good clues and indicators that you need to hit pause. I've been listening to my friend go through a breakup recently, but before it all shook out, she had told me how she felt in her intuition that this was it. It was home. And I thought, shit, home for you is not a good place. He's sparking a familiar past pain. Our brains download what we are used to feeling as a child in other relationships, the familiar. We have this little mass of nuclei. I think it's like a little mass of nucleus or maybe it's well, forget this part. I do know this. It's called the basal ganglia. This piece of your brain downloads repetition. Remember, I talk about this most every week. Humans are designed for the motivational triad. So I say seek pleasure, avoid discomfort, be efficient. This be efficient piece is downloading the things that you do daily, the feelings that you feel daily. So what you have been doing since you were a child, for instance, you just know to brush your teeth before bed and when you wake up, right? You don't think about it. You think about a lot of other things while you're doing it. You just know how to do it. It's the efficiency. So consider also, like I said, it's feelings. If you're used to feeling a certain way, your brain has downloaded this and it doesn't care if it feels good or bad. It's familiar. It knows it. It likes to go on this ride. This is where you want to pause and ask yourself, put it on paper. What have my past relationships been like? Has there been a consistent commonality in my emotions, in my behaviors, in their emotions and behaviors? When you talk about your childhood, what's the theme of your story? Bring some awareness here. These are just a few indicators to the people, places, and things that you are likely drawn to. Once you have this awareness around what you're chemically charged by and drawn to, you can decide how you want to feel and what kind of person you want to be attracted to. Again, write that down. What exactly does it look like? Play it out in your mind. See yourself in a relationship that isn't like the ones you're used to. This requires practice and repetition on your part and bucket loads of compassion, kindness, and grace. Again, you're getting to know you in this process, and it's not going to happen overnight. We have acquired the skill set of being who we are over how many decades. Don't expect that once you have awareness that things will just change. Love yourself through this part, please. I once had a man tell me I felt like home to him. He could just feel I was the one. It wasn't long after that that I understood what home was like for him as I watched our love play out and manifest in toxicity. I was so desperate to be loved, though, to be someone's home, that I just completely overlooked the fact that this wasn't what love was or is. This was a chemical attraction to familiar discomfort that I was used to. Not all my experiences were like this, I assure you, but the ones that came in fast have historically been the ones where I have found myself absolutely gutted and wrecked after. This required my full attention. Forget their behavior. What was going on with me that welcomed this? My impulse to go all in based off what someone else was saying. I've never seen my future with someone the way I do you. God, that sounds so romantic, right? But come on. Of course you haven't. This is literally the first time you are doing it. Why should this wet my panties? But God, did it ever. You mean you've never thought of your life like this before? I'm the one causing it? I must be so special. I'm chosen. Some people really have this shit down too. This is what they do. They know exactly what to say. And listen, this doesn't mean you don't feel all ooey gooey over flowers being sent to you or the constant text, but you don't plunge off into this is it and create a future and land on together forever. You learn to pace your emotions, the relationship. You can receive gifts, receive words of affirmation and love and good feelings. You can relish in it and have no expectations or make it mean it's anything else. We want to learn to dilute this chemical drip a bit, the charge that you feel in your body. And nobody wants to hear this, but the higher you go, the more you feel, the lower you fall, the darker you feel. It's literally a matter of how you process emotions individually. If you get uber excited about something, you're going to get uber disappointed about the opposite of that. But let me share a little inside scoop. Part of the reason I think you want to avoid getting to know this person in the process and straight into let's lock this shit down is because dating is uncomfortable. We want to get right to the I love you romantic feel good so that we can avoid the discomfort that comes from the unknown. I recently wrote an article for Troy Beza about this called Dating While Newly Single is about finding yourself, not someone else. We all think that when we start dating again, it's going to be so much fun. We will have all the yeses. Like, who would ever reject this? And you go out into the world thinking only of how much freedom and fun you're going to have, and you don't really consider the flip side of dating. And dating, like life, the human experience, is emotionally going to feel good 50% of the time, and it's going to feel bad 50% of the time. There is no way around it. This is the contrast that makes it necessary to feel in the first place. You're so uncomfortable on this ride, though, that you're trying to control an outcome and get the relationship secured without even knowing anything about this person. And this is where you lose sight. You stop collecting data. We're too concerned with what they are doing and where they are in our heads that we're not checking in with how we feel, what you think about them. You're just stuck on this idea of your happy ending playing out. The possibility is in sight and you refuse to see any information that might contradict it. And I keep saying you, and that might make you feel defensive, and I understand that. I'm talking about your brain, not you. I love you. It's your brain that's a motherfucker. There's a balance here, though, renegades. One where you can show up and date in a way that's authentic and watch it play it out. Look, and you want to do that regardless, right? We want to show up authentically all the time, but can you have the patience to watch it play out? My client called me and said, I'm really into this guy, but I think I'm being too nice. But I am a nice person. But my friends are telling me I should not be so available. And I have other people I could date, but this one guy just checks all the boxes, and I don't really want to invest my time in anyone else. And I was like, why are you making this so difficult? If you want to call a guy, call. If it's too much for him and he's not ready for someone who calls all the time or occasionally, whatever that is, he will decide. And then great, because then maybe you will potentially meet the person who does want to hear from you every day. Let's not change who we are in hopes to keep somebody around. Who you are is going to reveal itself eventually. So just let them know now. There's no confusion here. And, like Brené Brown says, clear is kind. This can work when you are intentional about who you are, what you want, but you're not attached to an outcome. You're not diving all in. When I say manage your mind, I mean observe these thoughts. Notice how they make you feel. Ask yourself, is this real or am I fluffing a scene? No matter how you go about dating, there will come a point where these uncomfortable feelings are going to come up because you are dealing with another human. You are in a vulnerable state. You are in uncertainty. There's no way around the doubt, the insecurity, the jealousy, the anger, the hurt feelings. They're supposed to be part of the ride. You want to create a container to fill them through, allow them, and know that nothing has gone wrong. This is where also you want to make sure you're looking at your mind when these feelings are coming up. What are you thinking? Because the feelings are coming from your thoughts. Is this a story that you have? Is it true? Deconstruct the fuck out of it. If you were looking to be with someone forever, why rush it? Getting to know someone, creating a connection and depth is where the emotional intimacy evolves between you. This is where you grow, and you grow as two people. Savor this process and the bond that is being formed. Anytime we are rushing to have something, we are usually thinking our life will be better if and when. Ask yourself, what's the rush? How do I think my life will be different when I'm in love or have a partner? What about me is going to change? What will I be feeling then? Why am I waiting to be that and feel those feelings? Why can't I feel them now? Renegades, it's all available to you right now. Let's slow our roll and work on learning how to satisfy our needs. Get to know exactly what we want and take pleasure in getting to know people and ourselves along the way. This sounds like such a smoother ride, no? Okay, well, until next week, keep thinking sexy thoughts. Are we into that? I hope so. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, Renegades, if you are finding the tools and concepts I'm sharing each week about your brain on dating, you won't want to miss out on working with me one-on-one. I've just launched my program, Wake Up Before Another Breakup, and in just 8 weeks, you won't question if you can trust yourself to date or why you can't find the one. Head on over to modernrenegades.com/programs to learn more about it and how you can work with me. Let's learn how to lose ourselves in the moment, not the man.